Today I have a fun story. It's a story that probably most children have heard, but it's a fun story to hear over and over again. It's the story of Little Red Riding Hood. Little Red Riding Hood. There she is, okay? See? It's a cape, and she has the hood, her hoodie. Okay, you ready? So I'll read the story, and then I'll show you the pictures. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who lived with her father and mother in a cottage on the edge of the great forest. The little girl's father was a woodcutter, and every day he went out to chop trees in the forest. Just inside the forest, there was another cottage, and here lived the little girl's grandmother, who one day made her grandmother a beautiful red riding hood and cloak in the brightest red cloth. The little girl wore her lovely cloak and hood wherever she went out, and everybody called her Little Red Riding Hood. There she was. Oh, how cute. One morning, Little Red Riding Hood's mother said, "Your grandmama is not very well today, so I have made her some sweet custard and some fresh butter. You may take them to her as a gift, but remember, go straight there and straight back again. Don't stop along the way, and don't talk to anybody." Little Red Riding Hood put on her gay cloak and hood and took the basket from her mother. But she had not gone very far down the road towards the forest and her grandmother's cottage when she came upon a great wolf sitting across her path. "Hello, Little Red," grinned the wolf. "Where are you off to this fine morning?" "I'm going to see my grandmama, who is not very well," replied the little girl. "I have some custard and some fresh butter for her." The wolf smacked his head. But he was not thinking of the custard and the butter. He was thinking that he might be able to make a meal out of Little Red. Maybe make a meal out of Little Red and her grandmother. "Does your granny live far away?" he asked Little Red. "Oh, her cottage is just down the forest path," replied the little girl. "Then I will go to see her as well," said the wolf. "Oh, that's very nice of you," said Little Red. "I am going to gather some flowers for her, and then we can walk along together." But the wicked wolf had other plans. "Let's see who can get to your granny's house first," he said. "I will take this path, and you take that one over there." Now the wolf had pointed out the longer way to Little Red. She forgot her mother's words and went off down the path the wolf had shown her. She stopped on the way to gather flowers, and she chased butterflies, while the wolf bounced along the shorter path as quickly as he could. When the wolf came to the cottage, he knocked on the door. "Who's there?" called the old lady from her bed. "It is I, Little Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf, trying to sound like a little girl. Pull the bobbin, and the latch will go up," cried the grandmother. The wolf did as he was told and then bounced into the room. When the old lady saw the great wolf with his long red tongue and sharp white teeth, she jumped out of her bed and ran out the back door so quickly that even the wolf could not catch her. He did not chase her, but instead he waited for Little Red Riding Hood. He dressed himself in one of the old lady's night dresses and put on one of her nightcaps. Then he slid into the bed in her place. When Little Red at last reached the cottage, she knocked on the door. is there?" asked the wolf. "Oh, poor Granny does sound hoarse," thought the little girl. "It is I, Little Red Riding Hood," she cried aloud. "I brought you a custard and some fresh butter." "Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up," called the wolf, trying to sound like Granny. Little Red Riding Hood went into the house, and after taking off her hood and cloak, she sat down on her grandmama's bed. The wolf hid himself as best as he could under the covers, but Little Red noticed his hairy arms. "Grandmama, what big, hairy arms you have." "Oh, the better to hug you with, my dear." And Grandmama, what big ears you have." "The better to hear you with, my dear." And Grandmama, what big eyes you have. "Oh, the better to see you with, my dear." And Grandmama, what big teeth you have. "The better to eat you with." Snarled. Little Red Riding Hood gave a loud, frightened scream, and she jumped off the bed. The wolf jumped out after her, but before he could catch the little girl, the door opened, and in hurried her woodcutter father with his sharp hatchet. What do you think he did to that wolf? Chopped him all up in pieces. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmama came back into the cottage when she saw the wolf lying on the ground in his blood. She hugged the little girl and jumped back in bed. She thankfully ate the sweet custard and fresh butter that her granddaughter had brought her, and she felt much better. Little Red Riding Hood soon forgot how frightened she had been when she saw her grandmother's smiling face, and she walked happily through the forest by her daddy's side, all the way back to her own house. Now, Little Red's mommy had given her some instructions, didn't she? She said, "Go straight to Grandmama's house and come straight home, and do not talk to anybody." Did Little Red obey? It was kind of hard with that wolf sitting right in the path, right? But she had forgotten. But what did she do? She didn't go straight there. She stopped and picked flowers, and she took a different path than the one her mama told her. And it got her into trouble, didn't it? 2 lessons. Number one, when your mama sends you somewhere, you go there, you go right back, you do exactly what you're told. Number 2, you never, ever, ever talk to strangers, right? You don't talk to people that you don't know unless there's a big person there, right, that you do know. Like your mama, if your mama or your daddy or your Grammy is there, or maybe the lady in the house next door, then you can. But if you're by yourself, you never, ever, ever talk to strangers because you don't know who they are and they might want to hurt you, right? Do you think Little Red learned her lesson? I hope so. But that's why our mommies and daddies, when they send us somewhere, maybe they send you to the pulperia, your mama send you to the pulperia, could you go to the pulperia and get me this, this, and this? You do exactly, and you go straight there, you go straight home, you don't stop along the way. Nope, because that's when you get yourself into trouble.